What's up, everybody? It's Jeremiah Frazier, aka FrayWay. I am an all-around entertainer, host, comedian, musician. We do it all, not limited to anything.
Awesome. That was good. I didn't know you was a musician too.
Yeah, see? Roll out.
So what do you play?
Piano. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
I play organ. I play organ, yeah.
Wow.
I play, Barry play, my boy Calvin play, I think L play. So it's like 4 comedic musicians.
Yeah.
We all think about doing a show with all of us having keyboards on stage, like real soon, like over the summer. Like a whole improv show. It's gonna be crazy.
That's dope. I'm looking forward to that. We rolling into the questions. Here we go.
Let's go.
Chicago is known for producing some of the best comedic talent. How has performing in the city shaped your approach to comedy?
Performing in Chicago is definitely an advantage because Chicago gonna let you know if you're supposed to be on stage or not. We have some of the best crowds, energy-wise. You know, with expectation, they expect for you to put on a show. So coming from Chicago, growing up in Chicago, even in the school system in Chicago, you grow up before you were groomed or becoming an entertainer. You always had those people, those groups and different people where the roasting groups, the lunchtime, everybody talking about each other. So you really was, without even thinking about it, you was getting your chops then. That's what Chicago is all about. Everybody being able to hold their own, take care of themselves. And it works comedically when you can stand on your own. Chicago is it's like we produce the best talent, I think, because of that, because of us being a blue collar city. We know we got to work hard. We know we got to bring it. We know it's a lot of competition here. So if you ain't bringing it, you're going to get lost somewhere in the shuffle. And so it's definitely an advantage coming from Chicago and going to other cities. They like, where he come from? Chicago.
Okay. I can attest to that. Man. So, FrayWay, what's the story behind it, and how does it reflect your comedic style?
All right, FrayWay. So, first of all, I got to give credit to my old co-workers because I used to work before I did entertainment full time. See, I was working while I was working. So before I went full time, I was the dean for Chicago Public Schools. And I know a lot of people don't know that, yeah. And so my co-workers used to call me Fray, which is half of my last name, Frazier. Fray, they call me Fray. Miss Cole, my best friend Trees, they call me Fray. And that stuck with me. I'm like, I like that. So ever since like maybe 2017, I said, you know what? All my life I've been doing things everybody else's way. We're gonna start doing it the FrayWay. So I put the name together, FrayWay. And that's where it comes from. So FrayWay, when you get FrayWay, you get me unauthentic, unapologetic, the way I want to do it. That's FrayWay.
Dope. Okay. All right. So you've performed with many of Chicago's finest comedians, and you can feel free to name some if you want. How does that community influence your growth as a performer?
Oh my goodness. It contributes tremendously to the growth. A lot of times right away, the impact of performing with some people that's been doing it for 30 years, like Leon Rogers, Damon Williams, George Wilborn, Marlon Mitchell, B. Cole, Sean Morgan. These guys have been like killing the comedy game and are still relevant today, very much still funny. And so when you listen to them, observing them, or on the same shows as them, on the same tickets as them, you automatically have to heighten what you're doing because they you don't want the show to ever drop. You know, one thing I learned from them, Marlon Mitchell especially, he tell me, man, just ride the wave. You know, if the show is here, just keep it there, take it higher. Whatever you do, don't let it drop. And so there's always a extra energy when guys like that is in the room, and it's an appreciation to the art that they have built. Honestly, they've done all the hard work because they had to construct and navigate through a lot of things that us behind them didn't have to. And because of that, I feel like all of us are better comedians because of them. And then they would probably tell you the same thing about the Robin Harrises and Bernie Macs and the other people that came from here. Of things they learn from. So it's all like a generational navigation. And man, now it's our job. We're going to give it to the next generation of comedians. So that's how it works. But yeah, Chicago got some dogs. We got some dogs. Lil Rel, Deion Cole, Corey Holcomb. Like, that's all Chicago. Adele Givens. Man, we got women too. Powerhouses, you know, Jess Nishas, Corey Bales, like we got powerhouses. And I'm sure they'll tell you, Corey and Nisha tell you, you know, that the women who had to navigate those things before them, the Adele Givens and the different people that came through here, man, it's appreciated by us because it definitely made us work on our craft and make sure we took it serious because they live, breathe, eat, and sleep comedy. And that's what you got to do to be the best, or at least be able to hang with the best.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, generation, navigation of the generation or something like that.
Yeah.
It's cool. And we got Sherri Shepherd too.
Sherri Shepherd, not to miss nobody. When I tell you it's a gang, Chicago has breeded the best comedians in the entire universe. If you say, man, this dude is hilarious, like super hilarious, because there's levels of funny. Like Chicago it's that top tier level of funny. And the people that come under that, because you can't be like, I'm from Chicago, and after Deion Cole and George Wilborn and Corey Holcomb and Michael Collier, I forget Uncle Mike. Oh my goodness. All these people, Damon Williams, it's like, nah. If you call yourself a comedian, you got to do it for real coming from Chicago. And they're going to let you know, no, you're aspiring. You are aspiring.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Comedy can be both a grind and a gift.
Yeah.
What keeps you motivated during the tougher times on the road or on stage?
Man, that is a perfect combination of what comedy is, a grind and a gift. Being naturally gifted is something I don't take for granted. I'm naturally gifted, and I always let people know that I'm also trained in theater. I went to Columbia College. I graduated with a BA in theater. And so I have the analytical skills. I understand the process. I understand improv and different levels of acting and different things that maybe other people have not gotten analytically and theoretically because they haven't got that training. And so I definitely was taught in school how much of a grind this is. When I came to Columbia, I knew, and all my professors knew, this dude has a natural gift. But they didn't allow my natural gift to get me ahead of the class. They didn't let my natural gift lead me into just getting every role, into being picked for this and that. They actually taught me the grind of working and character analysis and getting all the way 100% locked in and not relying just on my God-given talent. But listen, understand that there's some different circumstances in this. This is a different level here. And so you have to definitely grind in knowing, rehearsing, and it goes to show, because this generation today, it's like they born with so many gifts, you can't tell them nothing. And that's how I came in, like, these are people I'm, And so I was humbled my freshman year real quick I was humbled when they started giving me scripts and different things like that I've never seen or heard, learning theater history and all this Greek and different, but embodying that and learning that and then putting me in different classes like dialects, Irish dialects, African dialects, American history, theater history, and then having different roles. Because I was used to playing like funny characters, or I was used to like some of the animated things we've done, because I was Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory growing up. I was the Lion and Wizard of Oz. I've done Angels in America. When I started at Columbia and they started giving me real plays like the Laramie Project, Raisin in the Sun, all this, man, I said, oh, this is a different level. So I had to understand that it's more of what we see on the surface, and you really have to dive in. A lot of people don't see the work that's done. Before you are even handed a script and different things like that, or a role, an auditioning, they made you be a part of what's called a crew. So I know how to work everything backstage before I got on the stage. They made us do lights. They made us do sound. We had to be the signal person on the CAT scans. We had to do backdrops. We had to understand the artistry of it, the dynamics of the show. And so, in learning that, they were like, yeah, it helped me knowing what is supposed to happen on stage by knowing and appreciating all the people that do the work backstage. Because honestly, like, if you don't have a sound person, you ain't got nothing. We had to learn all of that. So it helped me to appreciate everybody instead of feeling like, oh, I'm just a star or you the star because you have a star role. And so, yeah, it's a real grind. And independently, a lot of comics are independent. So understand that grind is, you got to do it all. You got to be your media. You got to be your public relations. You got to be your spokesperson. You got to be your driver. You know, you got to do your own contracts and negotiations. Like, that is, I tell people, show business is 10% show and 90% business. Like, for real. And that is the difference of grinding and then having that just natural gift of, this is what I do. Yeah, I know that's a lot.
No, that's amazing. I'm like, what? I'm learning so much about you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. And I thought you was about to say, I'll use the chocolate in the chocolate factory.
I was a chocolate too. Matter of fact, they need to change that for Black History Month.
Hey.
A little chocolate in the chocolate factory.
Hey. Wonka, wonka, wonka.
A FrayWay production. I might adapt that. Thank you for telling me that.
Hey, give me a carrot.
A chocolate in the chocolate factory.
Here we go. Chicago audiences are known for their high standards.
Yeah.
How do you keep them laughing? And what's been your most memorable crowd interaction?
In Chicago, my most memorable crowd reaction? Or anywhere?
Well, I guess Chicago audiences, so yeah.
Okay, Chicago audience. Read me that question one more time.
No problem. Chicago audiences are known for their high standards. How do you keep them laughing? And what's your most memorable crowd interaction?
Chicago, first of all, you got to keep them laughing, because if you're not making people laugh in Chicago, you might get shot after the show. That's just people be wanting to fight. So I'm a high energy guy. I like to make sure everybody's having a good time. And so I make it my obligation to make sure whatever room I'm in, everybody's having a good time, because that's how you want people to leave, knowing that they came for something, they probably got more than what they expected. That's always what I try to leave with them. And so on the other side of that, we as artists, or at least I myself, I have a high expectation for our audience in Chicago too. I expect them to have high energy just because it is Chicago. I expect for them to know that, oh, we about to rock. I expect them to know we going to have a good time tonight. And so it kind of works both ways with the artist and the audience in that aspect of we both having expectations for each other. And when we meet each other's expectations, oh man, sky's the limit in whatever room we in that night, for sure. One of my most memorable moments, man, I don't know. I've had so many. Literally, every show, there is something. So I tell people, you just got to come out to experience a show, and then you would have the most memorable moment because every show is something different.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you funny. I didn't see it. This man got it. As a comedian, what's your process for turning everyday situations into laugh out loud moments?
You have to. If you let life, it's so important to take what goes on in life and turn it into something that can be creatively connecting, because you're not the only person that's going through what you're going through. And so the reason I believe that a lot of my material works is because it's factual, it's true, it's my experience, it's happened to me. And so I know it so well. And then, you know, if you ever telling a story and somebody be like, that happened to me too, it's relatable. It's relatable. And so I have this thing where I have gotten to a certain age where I don't really let things bother me. I understand life happens and some things you just can't do nothing about, things you can't do nothing about. And so I get a lot of my writing just from day to day, my personal experiences of where I am, what's happening, whether it be a grocery store, the airport, I'm in a different city, state, another interaction with another artist or family member. Oh, family especially. We do a lot of family jokes. And it also is a form of healing, because it's a lot of trauma in comedy. If you are outstanding comic, you've had some trauma in your life. That's just what it is. And I know I've had some since grammar school and up. They can tell you. I don't think any of my teachers in school could tell you that they thought I would be this today. Maybe one or two. A couple of them, they still keep in contact with me. But being able to look back and reflect at who you are and where you are and the experiences you've had and what you've become is kind of my biggest accomplishments, in knowing that what the devil meant for bad, hey, I was able to turn it around for good. And we can do that through writing. We can do that through expressions. And that's what comedy is for me. It's just expressing myself of my thoughts and my writing on stage. And that's exactly what y'all get. Factual experiences of FrayWay.
Hey, awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So with so many streaming platforms and specials today, how do you plan to carve out your space in the comedy landscape?
Well, that goes back to the question about the grind. That's part of it. That's part of the grind. The world changes so much. Like when I started doing comedy, like the biggest thing you wanted to do was, the local comedy clubs in your city. Like what was open when I started? Jokes and Notes. That was like up here. Like, you doing Jokes and Notes? So it's like, getting your face on the wall at a comedy club. Like that was the high point. That was the goal. And then growing up after Kings of Comedy and all that stuff, it's like, well, now I got to do Wintrust. Now I got to do Airy Crown. Now I got to do, And so now it's changed into, I need a Netflix deal or a Hulu or a Tubi. We gonna leave Tubi out. And so, man, this business, it evolves so quickly that goals always change. And so my grind has always been, I'm just going to keep doing what I do, and where my feet land, it's obviously where God wants me to. But of course, I have plans and I shoot for those things. And if those calls come, I'll take them. But you can never stop grinding or get discouraged if they don't come. So there's a basis in that, because there's always an audience for you, no matter if it's a room of 100 or a room of 1,000 or a room of 10,000. There is a audience for everybody who grinds in this industry.
Man, you dropping so many nuggets. Man, for real. Woo. All right. Every comedian has a bomb set story. What's yours, and how did you bounce back from it?
Oh, and I know people, be like, there's no way. I don't have a bomb story. I've never bombed. Have I had a crowd that wasn't as energetic as I would have liked them to be? Probably. But me bombing? No. And it goes back to I didn't start comedy. I didn't start talking publicly, like on stage, when I became a stand-up comic 18 years ago. Like, I had always been on stage, so it wasn't a thing for me to talk to people. A lot of people bomb because they're just not ready for the moment. So I kind of was trained and kind of groomed into being ready for audiences. So it's a little different for me. When I say I don't bomb, I don't take that as I'm better than somebody or not, because, you know, it could happen, but I don't expect it to. I mean, I'm not hoping it to. I always try to be ready, but I say this to let people know as well, I had an advantage too, because a lot of times it's people's first time in front of people. At first, you know, they're not used to being in front of people yet as much, but I've been doing that since I was 5 years old. And the other thing about bombing is a lot of people bomb today, and you see it today because people become popular before they become polished. And so we have a lot of popularity going on because these producers and show organizers, they want to sell tickets. And if you got 1 million followers, they know you can fill the seats. And unfortunately, the show just don't be as what a Chicago crowd would expect it to be. That's why when people come here, they be like, y'all boo such and such. Y'all. Nah, like we don't care how many followers or how famous you are. You got to be polished. You got to bring it. You got to know this craft. Like these ain't no, I don't know what the word I want to use for it, but the basis of it is popularity has taken over talent. So becoming popular and you haven't been polished, it's a very dangerous thing, because now you're in front of 10,000 people and they like, really? How did he get famous? Well, this is what we watch, and it's a discredit to the artist because they're new to it in a facet, because they didn't mean to blow up overnight over the internet. Some people don't mean to blow up. They just put out a video and it's like, oh, and all of a sudden now they in front of millions of people and they haven't gotten that work or their experience, and it shows. Last thing you want to do is be booed in front of 10,000, 20,000 people. Whew. Get all your bombing out in these small lounges where it's 50 people in there. And that's part of the grind. That's why you hear some of these older comedians say, well, we used to go to the Cotton Clubs or the E2s or Giovanni's and the other places that used to host comedy, and they would just go room to room to room to room to room to room to room because they was getting all that bombing out. They was getting all them bad jokes out, seeing what worked. They call it working the jokes or working out the jokes or whatever, but what they was doing was making sure they was getting all the bombs out.
Hey, it's a good strategy. I mean,
yeah.
Hey. And then nowadays, as you mentioned, if you bombing in front of 10,000 crowd, it's really more than that because everybody going to laugh. It's
part of the grind. Like, rehearsal is necessary, people. And and the way people can pull out cameras now, and yeah, your career will be short-lived. So I tell people, Netflix and all this other stuff, when you see comics or different people or new people or fresh faces on it, and I mean, everybody go right to the comments. This was terrible. Da, da, da. TV is for one thing, ratings. They don't care if you thought it was terrible or not. Did you watch it? So once you watch it, your opinion don't matter to the television. They've made their money. And so unfortunately, artists are used in that aspect. And then a lot of artists be like, man, y'all some haters. No, we just hate what you did. We don't hate you. We hate that set you did. It was terrible. And so that's kind of a knock to the producers and the money people who own these networks. They're the ones that are putting these people up before they are really ready to be produced like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to up-and-coming comedians trying to make a name for themselves in a city like Chicago?
Listen, in a city like Chicago or whatever city you're in, don't ever let somebody tell you what you can't do. That's my number one rule. I don't tell people a lot of my ideas because your ideas probably will never match up with the capacity of somebody's idea for you. People have ideas for you and think you can only go to a certain extent. And so when you leave it up to people for validation and for ideas and different things like that, you're really doing yourself a disservice. You know, if you put it out there that you can do this, if you've written it, if it's your goal, then do everything you can to reach that. I heard something the other day with my girl, I won't mention it, but people know who know. And she was just speaking of not needing validation at this point in her career. And that's where I am, and that's what I would tell young comics, because they look for it and need it. Affirmation is different than validation. It's good when somebody's like, man, it's nice to hear, man, that was a good set. Man, you rock that. It's good to hear that. But as far as you feeling like a certain artist or a certain person, you want them to give you those certain accolades or validate you, don't look for it. Don't look for it. Just keep your grind and understand that your ultimate validation is going to come from the residuals you receive through your gifts. All right? We ain't out here driving the cars and in the houses we got because of validation. That validation, that's what it is right there. That rent paid every month. That mortgage paid every month. That validates me. All right?
Hey, I feel you. I feel you. Looking ahead, what's your ultimate goal in comedy, whether it's TV, film, or staying on the stage? Where do you see FrayWay in the future?
My ultimate goal for comedy is I would love to have a new form of sketch comedy televised. Like, for us, you know, Saturday Night Live is the, I guess we would call it the blueprint, maybe, for sketch comedy now. But in living color, growing up in my day, which is what kind of got everybody involved, where you can maximize people's talents, because people like me who are not limited to just comedy, like the Jamie Foxxes, y'all would never know that Jamie could act, sing, do stand-up, and play keys, and a plethora of other things if it wasn't for those different sketch comedy shows. And so I want to build a platform to show the variety of artists, more as to what we just want them to be or see them as in one aspect. And so I would love to bring something like really impactful, like in living color back, and just put it back to a level of respectability. As much as I love Wild 'N Out, I hate it. And that's no knock to them, because again, those are show producers. They making their money. But I see the way the next generation is coming up, what they listen to, what they look like, and a lot of stuff on TV contributes to that. And we're going to lose the artistry. We're going to lose validity in artistry if we don't get back to understanding the roots of what real comedy is, what real writing is, what reading is. They're trying to take education away now. If you can't read and write, you cannot do comedy. It's not it's not gonna work out for you. You can't go around stealing jokes like other comics. And so you're not gonna make a career out of yourself stealing jokes from other comics, all right? You have to put the work in. You have to be able to read. You have to be able to write. You have to be able to think. You have to be able to think outside of the box, critical thinking. All these things should be observed as well. And we don't really have a blueprint of sketch comedy like that today. Saturday Night Live, it is what it is, but I want to be more relatable. I don't think Saturday Night Live is relatable to our next generation that's coming up, or our generation that passed us that's looking for real, relatable sketch, improv, sketch comedy. And so I want to rebuild that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, man, this is amazing. How can people find you?
Hey, you can find me at my website, www.jeremiahfrazier.com. You can go there. You can either also go to my Instagram, which is Jeremiah Frazier _, or if you just search FrayWay, I'll pop up. And while you're there, go in my links. There's a thing that says rate me, RATE. Rate me. I ain't want to sound like something else because ain't no baby oil around here. Anyway, rate me. Go on my links on my Instagram, and there you can rate me. If you've seen any of my performances, you go in there and rate me. The network would love to hear from you about what you loved about me, what you didn't like about me, whatever. I don't see any of it, but the network does, the agencies does, and it helps me get better as an artist when we have our meetings. So those are on my links. And then you can find all the places I'll be once you go to my Instagram. We got a lot of shows coming up: Detroit, Cincinnati. We got Las Vegas. We're doing Stardome in Alabama. We're doing the Baltimore Comedy Factory in April. We are doing St. Louis, Helium. We are doing Las Vegas. We are doing Boston. We'll be at the Martha's Vineyard in August. That's one of the biggest comedy festivals. We'll be doing that. In September, I'll be in Dubai. So go to my page, check out all of those things. You can see where I am all the time, and stay connected with me. I like to talk to people. Hey, I want to just thank Rolling Out for this opportunity. This was dynamic today. This was the bomb. I appreciate them. I learned about them. They learned about me, and that's how life should be.